Welcome to this week's Rogers McHugh YouTube video. In this week's episode, we're looking at how you can sell in a consultative manner. Let's go. Welcome to this week's Rogers McHugh YouTube video. So in this week's episode, we're looking at how you can be consultative with your clients and your candidates and sell in a consultative manner. So this has been driven because a lot of people at the minute saying, the market is quite saturated in terms of recruitment consultants and recruitment agencies. And it got me thinking, how do you stand out from the crowd? And the first thing is, it's in the name. So you've got to be consultative. There's a lot of talk that AI is going to come in and replace recruiters, and I don't believe that's the case. And there's a video on the channel if you want to go back and look at it about that. And part of the reason is, a consultant's job is to be consultative, to be an extension of their client, and not just, hundreds of sales calls just trying to put candidates into jobs. You've got to provide a service. So how do you sell in a consultative manner? Well, the first thing, and if you've watched much of my content previously, you'll know what I'm going to say. You've got to be an expert in your field. Now that involves being in a niche sector, or a niche within a niche, because you've got to be an expert. You've got to know all the clients, you've got to know all the candidates, you've got to know every little bit of detail around that niche in terms of who competes against who does what type of work, and you've got to be seen as being an expert. If you're not an expert and you try and do every sector in the world, you can't possibly be consultative because you don't have the knowledge to do so. Number two, you've got to be able to add value. So that comes down to making sure that when you're going to clients with candidates, you know that they're going to be interested in that candidate because of your expertise within the market. You're not just throwing candidates at a wall and hoping some of it sticks. You're actually seeing a candidate, speaking to a candidate, registering a candidate, and knowing from their experience a short list of 5 to 10 companies that are going to be right for that person, and based on what they tell you in terms of what they're looking for, in terms of dynamics of the office and things, you can narrow it down further. But you should be able to get a candidate and know exactly where they would fit within your industry. But as well as adding value, you need to give advice. You need to give advice to your candidates. But you also need to give advice to your clients. So a lot of people will take a job spec and put the phone down and they'll be like, well, that's never getting filled. The point you've put the phone down and said that's never getting filled, you're doing a disservice to your client or your potential client. If there's a reason that job isn't going to get filled, and it could be because they don't offer hybrid working and all of their competitors do, it could be that their salary's $5,000 lower than all their competitors, it could be that they're looking for a needle in a haystack in terms of skill set, then as a consultant and being consultative, you need to be confident enough. And if you are an expert and you know these things for a fact, you need to be confident enough to have that conversation with your client and give them advice. Say, listen, I really appreciate what you're saying. Appreciate that you want to pay $50,000 a year for this candidate. However, my experience in this market is that all of your competitors are paying 55. I'm happy to market the job at 50,000. However, the candidates that you're going to get are probably not going to be there. It may even be that you want to say, I'll be honest, at 50 grand, it's probably not something I'd look at working because I know the candidates aren't going to be there for it. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time sitting there thinking that I'm going to come to you with candidates. It isn't going to happen. Is there any movement on that salary? And if they say no, listen, if all you're going to do is not fill the job anyway, it's much better to walk away from that position, because there is an agency out there that will say, yeah, no worries, we'll work it. They could spend 6-8 weeks looking for the candidate, not find anybody, because you know that the candidates aren't out there at that price. That client is likely to then come back to you and say, listen, we've had it with another agency, we accept the salary's too low, we want to put it up, we'll go with you, because you've not let them down. The other agency that said they'd get candidates for them at 50 grand, they've let them down. You've not let them down. You told them the market conditions, you walked away, and they've still not found anybody, and now they're coming around to your way of thinking. And that advice can be across anything, so like I say, hybrid working, who their main competitors are, or who's doing well in the market, giving knowledge. And that really feeds into the last point, working in partnership. It's a two-way street for me, recruitment. The client have got to give you as much as you give them. So they've got to be open. They've got to be open to having a conversation. They've got to be open to you going and seeing them and seeing the office and seeing the working environment. But it's very much about working in partnership. Going to them with a candidate when you know they aren't looking. So, look, I know we've just filled a job for you. I know we're not looking. However, I've just come across this candidate. They're right in your niche. They're right in your sector. It'd be remiss of me not to give you an opportunity on this candidate. Advising them if you hear of big work or projects that are going on in the sector, speaking to your clients about it. I mean, we work in construction, as you know. If we heard that one of the big councils was looking at rolling out some frameworks, we'd absolutely be speaking to our clients and saying, look, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Manchester City Council are just rolling out a framework. Might be worth you having a look at, because it's a partnership. If your clients are busy and they're winning work, that's going to filter down to you. And if you're the one that's providing them with some of this information, and you can get this information if you're an expert and if you're in a niche, then absolutely they're going to value you and they're going to come and work with you when they've got a requirement. So it's all about working in partnership. It's about adding value. It's about feeling like an arm of them, an extension of their recruitment team, if you like, because you need to believe in that business if you're recruiting for them. But equally, they need to believe in you and they need to see you as a partner. There's a lot of clients out there that see recruitment as CV flinging. They give us no respect whatsoever. And my response to that is walk away. Work with clients that give you the respect that you deserve, because you're adding a valuable service. If you get some key hires within a company, you can supercharge their growth. And in a lot of cases, you will get candidates that aren't readily on the market through your network and through networking and through keeping in touch with them. So there we have it. If you want to sell and you want to sell well, you need to be consultative. Doing a little bit of a mini series, a few videos on selling and sales and building your client base. As we come towards the end of the year, everybody's going to be setting targets for 2025. So we want to make sure that you're all in tip-top shape for the new year and ready to hit the ground running. So hope you've enjoyed that. If there's anything that you think I've missed, as always, put it in the comments. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back next week with another video.